Oh, hello.
Oh, hello, Look of Light, yeah.
Hello, dear.
We're in Neros, Clapham, and well, this interview I thought was about caring in the community, and I know you're doing a series of discussions on saving the planet, but I know now, is it 2 years ago you lost a friend?
Yeah.
And we've just lost a friend over here from Caring for Carers. And we're finding out that people in the male society around about 40, in the female society around about 60 to 70 are home alone a lot, going through depression, and with the cuts and the benefit changes, they're isolated, and we're still finding too many people are dying alone. And this is a really difficult, hidden problem in our society. And you said you're going to this place in Kilburn. Is that particular group really publicising it?
Well, they're publicising the group in Kilburn. They're called the Kilburn Unemployed Workers Group, and they do unbelievable work. Just they don't get paid to do it themselves. But this is to protect people from eviction and losing their benefits. And they literally will stand outside a benefit office for the client they're working with to show their support with banners and everything. And so in the law, because I'm a law student, if you show public support, the courts get really scared of public support. It can win cases. They've even gone to courts, just literally with banners, to stand outside to make sure cases are fair. And I have so much love and total respect for these people, and I think they are saving the planet with so much total justice and incredible work. And they're political too. They've been written about, and I just admire them so much.
So what do you think we can do in the Lambeth, Croydon area, Vauxhall area, in reflection to you're in Kilburn, Knightsbridge?
To do with people sort of on their own and maybe vulnerable people dying?
Well, it seems to me that with the cuts, the social services are not doing follow-on care, and therefore the idea of the visiting vicar, the visiting friend, the visiting social worker, the visiting, and therefore people get isolated, and in that 1 week where they're isolated, or that 2-week period, which in your case was about a week with your friend, in our friend's case it was about 2 weeks, they passed away, and there doesn't seem to be that integrated. How do we reawaken the compassion? In the Muslim community they say most merciful and compassionate, but you're always hearing about the bad side of Islam or the bad side of council. Or how do we bring the compassion socially back into our community, where these isolated people can come out and get their extra lot? I mean, she could have lived longer, your friend could have lived longer.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do you think we should have community guest houses? This was an idea we had for the homeless, the home aloners at 40, like the older widows, all the ladies that never got married.
Community guest house would be good for vulnerable people.
Because these youth hostels are rather shabby and dirty, aren't they?
Yeah, I think community guest house, where if you can prove that you're vulnerable or whatever, you need to get out for a few nights, would be so good.
Yeah, sort of $250 a night with a nice room, social care.
Even free, and you have the big collective dinners and stuff like that. It'd be so good for people. I think we've become so automated, we've lost something. And I also think the tick boxing mentality of the NHS, it leaves gaps, so that, like you're saying, the gap is that people aren't visited, and so they just die. If they've died, nobody knows.
Well, this is the danger of closing.
Nobody knocks for them, nobody knocks. Unless you have a carer, and they don't spend the night necessarily either. So things can happen at night.
This is in both cases with young men in their 40s who haven't succeeded, maybe their partners have left, maybe problems have happened, they've lost their mums, with older ladies who never got married and they're not in the right network.
I really want to say that honestly, I feel that the culture here in England, I feel this whole thing about our social side needs so much work to do with neighbours, how we get on. It's not good enough. It's the way it is now. Many people from different countries, friends of mine, say that they want to go. They like the fashion and the art and Doctor Who and EastEnders, but it's not enough. Those things aren't enough. You need to have friendship, love, go walking with someone, talking, and we fail badly here because of that. Mainly because of middle class culture, the must-haves, which I've talked about in my video. The must-haves interfere. The must-haves are middle class culture that tell us that we must buy certain magazines, must have this. It's very materialistic, and that interferes with the working class people that want to have a strong community. But that went under Blair. The working class culture was more or less demolished. EastEnders is not really reality. That hardly exists.
There's no care in EastEnders.
Yeah, that lifestyle of community and all that, not necessarily very real anymore. Because under Tony Blair, many more people became middle class, brought their flats which were for vulnerable people. And so we need to go back, I think, to the more working class mentality of neighbours and friends. And
so in the
for
cases,
a while anyway.
Well, in the cases of young gentlemen in their 40s or older women, why do you think there's a social embarrassment that when they get so depressed they feel they can't go to church, can't ring their friends, and that if we knew that this would happen, that people would get so depressed and isolated that they don't go out to the point where they are not eating correctly, they might take a under or overdose or just collapse in the bath.
It's lack of care.
So the isolation, depression, that when you've got people knocking on each other's doors and double checking, and you don't get that. So do you think there should be a campaign called Knock on Each Other's Doors?
Volunteers could
from the community housing or street care.
Imagine people knocking on doors from a volunteer agency. It would create a good atmosphere because it'd be knocking on doors. It's energy.
So would you present that to the council, the government, the church?
I don't think the council, because my opinion of as a law student
forum,
and my opinion of the council. Oh, I can't think. He's talking here. My opinion of the council is that the council is an unjust system, and I don't think it serves justice, and I don't think it's very good, and I think it needs overturning, changing to something better, and I don't believe in the council anymore. So no, I don't think.
The council needs to realise that it has to. The church has to. They have to work together again. There needs to be a massive
but that's
confrontation.
Different. Yeah, there does.
This disgusting,
I think the councils attract people who see it as a job, and they are in a job and they defend themselves to the last. So if you make a complaint, they will defend themselves and they use lawyers. They're virtually impossible to get justice out of, plus the courts protect them with certain cases that say. So I think that churches. I think I agree. Churches and other organisations can kind of work with the council to change it and bring back that compassion. Yeah, I agree.
So we need a compassionate revolution. So if you happen to get hold of this YouTube and you're watching it, it's Holistic London discussing more compassion and care in the community. If you're worried about someone in your community, please do knock on their door. And find a way of helping them.
And
don't be embarrassed.
Discuss on YouTube and share your opinions.
People do need to not feel ashamed about being in a very low depression, and it's really not nice if they die home alone. And we're embarrassed and very sad and shocked to say that people in London and across England are dying home alone in two major communities. One, lonely males and lonely older women, and it's really, really awful and tragic, and we should do a lot more for those two communities. Okay, thank you. This is Mama Purple and Nick of Light discussing community compassion at Neros, Clapham.